जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदानंदन ब्रज जने रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जने रंजन जमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदानंदन ब्रज जने रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जने रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य शतोत्तर शतश्री श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणार वृंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की नीताय गौर प्रेमानंदे all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayet nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttam shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtuki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So we are reading from Canto 6. We are reading from Canto 6, Chapter 9, text number 44. Atho isha jahi twastram grasantam bhuvanatrayam grastani yena nah Krishna tejamsi ashtra yudhani cha Atho isha jahi twastram grasantam bhuvanotrayam grastani yena nah Krishna tejamsi astrayudhani cha Atho isha jahi twastram grasantam bhuvanatrayam grastani yena nah Krishna tejamsi astrayudhani cha. Can we have one Prabhu and one Mataji please chant? Atho isha jahi trastram grasantam bhuvanotrayam Matajis. Isha jahi twastram grasantam bhuvanatrayam grastani yena nah Krishna tejamsi astra yudhani cha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Therefore, O Lord, O Supreme Controller, O Lord Krishna, please annihilate this dangerous demon, Vritrasur, Twashta's son, who has already swallowed all our weapons, our paraphernalia for fighting, and our strength and influence. Purport. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 7, 15 and 16, Namam dushkriti no mudha prapadyante naradhama maya pahrita jnana asuram bhavimashrita chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukritino arjuna arto jigyasura artharthi jnani cha bharatarishabha. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. O best among the Bharatas, Arjun, Four kinds of pious men render devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desire of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the Absolute. The four classes of neophyte devotees who approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead to offer devotional service because of material motives are not pure devotees. But the advantage for such materialistic devotees is that they sometimes give up their material desires and become pure. When the demigods are utterly helpless, they approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead in grief and with tears in their eyes, praying to their Lord, and thus they become almost pure devotees, free from material desires. Admitting that they have forgotten pure devotional service because of extensive material opportunities, they fully surrender to the Lord, leaving to His consideration whether to maintain them or annihilate them. Such surrender is necessary. Bhakti Vinod Thakur sings, Maro birakho bi jo ichha tohar. O Lord, I fully surrender unto your lotus feet. Now, as you desire, you may protect me or annihilate me. You have the full right to do either. Om Jnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirbishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Mancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So in this section of Srimad Bhagavatam, we are witnessing the demigods in distress, right? They are in a helpless condition. And Prabhupada explains that this is the nature of the material world. This is what you have to expect. Krishna has certified it. ये दुखालम है, ये असुखम है. Why did he say it twice? Bhagavad Gita, right? See, before we get into it, I'll just like to mention something. How does the purport of this verse start? Prabhupada refers to two verses from Bhagavad Gita, right? And if we see, if we go through Bhagavatam, all the purports and commentaries of Prabhupada, we'll see this is a common feature. Prabhupada all the time referring to Bhagavad Gita verses, right or no? And same thing if you all go to Bhagavad Gita, in Bhagavad Gita you all will see verse after verse Prabhupada making references where? Bhagavatam. Why? Something worth understanding. Bhagavad Gita kya hai? What is Bhagavad Gita? Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita. And what is Srimad Bhagavatam? Krishna shows. what Krishna speaks in Bhagavad Gita, he shows in Srimad Bhagavatam. Because both are important. See, try to analyze. If you have a TV में if there is only the video, audio nahi hai, will you be able to relate to what is? It will make some sense, right? Just try to analyze. If you had Bhagavatam minus Bhagavad Gita, you had this Bhagavatam minus Prabhupada's purports. Trust me, I have actually read Bhagavatam before coming into Krishna consciousness, and now when I think, I can't even remember or recollect what. You get some benefit. See, we cannot say you can't get any benefit because Bhagavatam is so powerful. But you get very minimal benefit. That TV, it gives you some pleasure. And if you have the TV only audio, no video, then also you get some pleasure, right? But when do you get total pleasure, total happiness, bliss? Both, right? Audio video dono hona zaruri hai. Then you really relish. That's the right word, you relish. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Krishna, classroom. In school you have chemistry, they teach you in the classroom. H2 plus O is equal to H2O. I'm not good in science, so if I quote something wrong, please don't hold me. So when they teach you in the classroom, why do they then take us to the laboratory? Have you ever thought that? सीख लिया ना, समझ लिया ना? No. That laboratory experience is very important. Because when you go to the laboratory and when you actually, you inhale that gas which has some rotten egg smell, I don't even know what gas it is. Please don't ask me. In the question answer, don't ask me which gas that is. Even now, after 20 years, if you get that gas smell, it will remind you, right? It will take you back to that laboratory room, right? So that is why from the classroom, they take you to the laboratory. That is why this Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam ka integration is very important. You see, purport after purport, you will see Prabhupada referring to Bhagavad Gita. Which instruction of Bhagavad Gita is being exhibited here by Krishna through his devotees, through the Devtas. And in Bhagavad Gita, when the instructions are coming, he'll give you examples. Amrish Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, he'll keep on referring you to that. So both, that is why Kalyug mein bola na, only two Shastras, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, enough. You don't need anything third. But we have a third. What is the third? Chaitanya Charitamrita. वो क्या है? Chaitanya Charitamrita, at least for me, how I put it is like it's the icing on the cake. बच्चे लोग होते हैं ना, when they have a cake, the first thing they want, that's the, you can say the tasty part of the cake. Cake minus icing मजा नहीं आता. That is Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's the icing. And I will end with that. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, the Prabhupada is already integrating in this verse. We'll see. I will end with icing on the cake, where Chaitanya Charitamrita fits into what we are discussing today. So now coming to this section, where we see that the Devtas are in a helpless condition. It's miserable. They are saying that they have lost all their weapons, paraphernalia for fighting, strength, influence, totally helpless. And as I said, that's the nature of the material world. It's dukhalam. It's going to come. How much are we ready? See, intelligent person jo hota hai na, by hearing, the intelligent person, he'll hear, pre-warned is forearmed. Suna? If you know it's monsoon time, and they tell you the rain is coming, what do? You take the umbrella and go, right? Because you have been warned, storm aa raha, you take the umbrella and go. Pre-warned is forearmed. That's the intelligent person. Intelligent person, if you tell him, fire. If you put your hand in fire, what will happen? It will burn. So the intelligent child, simply by hearing, putting your hand in fire, he will never put his hand in fire. That is the intelligent child. Then you have a next level, the less intelligent. You tell the child, don't put your hand in fire, it will burn. He learns his lesson how? The hard way. He'll put his hand in the fire and then he will never put his hand in fire. He learned his lesson the hard way. Do you know there is a third category? That is the foolish. He puts his hand in fire and it burns. Okay? Now after some time, he burnt his hand where? In India. After some time, he is sitting in US. तो उसको लगता है ये US है. You know, it's so advanced. यहाँ पे हाथ नहीं जलेगा. The hand is not going to burn. What he does? He puts his hand again in fire. जय श्री श्री गौर निताई की जय, श्री श्री राधा वृंदावन चंद्र जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा सुदर्शन जी की जय. This is the foolish person. He doesn't get the message. He put his hand in fire here, burnt his hand. Second time also he goes and नहीं यहाँ नहीं जलेगा. That is why you see, basically if you all see the whole fiber of Bhagavatam है क्या? There's so much, basically so much repetition ना. Case after case, you know, one devotee, Vipada comes, the Lord comes, saves him. You know, it's just that whole repetition. Why that repetition? That's so important. Some of you all might think, Prabhuji, kal ka class mein suna na Vipada, this material world is dukhalayam. Now today you are again going to talk about it. We have to hear every day. We have to keep reminding ourselves every day. I'll tell you a real life example. There was a devotee in Atlanta, very nice devotee. See, when I give examples, I'm not making fun of that devotee. I've learned a lesson from him which I'm sharing with you all. So he had joined our group after 1 year, very nice, sincere devotee. After 1 year, he asked me a question. Prabhuji, you know, he was reading that time Bhagavad Gita and he said, Prabhu, I think Prabhupada is just repeating the same thing again and again. Every purport, you are not the body, you are the soul, 3 more, that's all. This, you know, I got it. So I told him, good question. Now how to answer him? So I told him, can I ask you a question? He said, yes, Prabhu. So I asked him, you have understood you are not the body? Yes. You have understood you are the soul? Yes. So I told him, now here's the question. After understanding that you are not the body, you are the soul, I want to know today, how are you leading your life? On what platform? Are you leading your life as a Jivatma? Then you don't need to read. Then it's not for you. That made him thinking. He said, Prabhu, makes sense. I told him, keep reading. See, in Prabhupada's purport, if you all see Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, it might sound, no? Same cheez. You are not the body, you are the soul. Material modes of nature, how this material world is miserable. Arey Baba, every day sunna parega because our conditioning is of lifetimes. To undo that conditioning, it takes time. It doesn't happen just over. We have to keep reminding ourselves, it's a miserable, the misery is going to come. You are going to be put in a helpless situation. Are you ready for it? It's coming in everybody's life. See, in Bhagavatam, Krishna, through examples of his devotees, is teaching us, right? Through his example of devotees, he is teaching us, aapke liye bhi aa raha hai. Be prepared. It will come. And it's not that when it comes, you know, one day before you will get a WhatsApp message that tomorrow it's coming. You don't know when it's going to come. How much are you prepared for it? I'll give you another real life example. They are just coming to my mind, I don't know. One time I was in Atlanta and I was driving. Late night, maybe about 10ish, we were coming back from a devotee's farewell. So that time I didn't have a son, only me and my wife, we were driving. 10 o'clock in the night and it was raining. And for some of you all who have been in US, you all know how traffic moves. Really fast. I was on the highway. Yahan ka about 100 ka speed pe 120. I was in a small Nissan car. And from back, this 16-wheeler truck comes. Okay. And at that speed, the truck only has to touch you. That's all. You're dead. At that speed, can you imagine? So, raat ka time tha, 10 o'clock, there wasn't much traffic. And I was driving. This truck just came and touched my car. And you all know what happened? My car is spinning like this. Now, this whole thing happened in 45 seconds. मैं तो class में बोल रहा हूँ, it is taking 2 minutes. But this happened like this. In 45 seconds, everything was done. You don't have time. So when the car was spinning, you know why I keep sharing this? To remind myself, to refresh myself of that experience. So the car was spinning like this. From 3rd lane, going to 2nd lane, and then it went and hit the wall. Now what happened in that 45 seconds inside the car? What I was doing? I was trying. And I was trying to brake, and at that speed you can't even brake, and then suddenly I looked to my right, and what did I see? I saw my wife. She was just, she had literally given up, jisko bolta hai na, helpless. She understood this is a helpless condition. And we are reading, the demigods were, with tears they were offering prayers. She was just chanting very loudly, Gopinath, Gopinath. And when I saw her, I said, what am I doing? I understood. I just left the wheel. Chhod diya wheel, chhod diya brake. And I started loudly chanting, Radhe, Radhe. And the car went and hit the wall at that speed. And, the airbags came out, all fumes and all are coming out, and we two just literally came down. And we both were looking at each other. How many of you will believe it? Not a scratch. So much so that the car which came behind us, when it saw our car, it thought कि दोनों का हरिबोल हो गया होगा. Because the car was totally wrecked. That car stopped and said, इसके अंदर कौन था? That person actually couldn't believe it कि you all two were inside that car. The point is, see the vipada, when it will come, you don't know. How much are we preparing ourselves? As I said, it's not that you're going to get a call that, okay, tomorrow you're going to have a car accident, right? It's just, that's how the material world has been framed. And why did Krishna frame it in such a way? At the end of the day, is it that the Lord is very cruel or, No, He wants to wake us up. Ultimately, He wants to wake us up so that, because like yesterday, wonderful class was given by Prabhuji that how we have to take shelter. We are all taking shelter right now, okay? We are taking shelter of all material arrangements. We have our LICs and health insurances, and we have so much dependency on the doctors and the CAs and the attorneys. With due respect to doctors, I'm not being disrespectful to anybody. But how much dependency we have on those arrangements, right or wrong? There's nothing wrong if you're sick, don't go to a doctor. Of course you go to a doctor. But when you go to the doctor, आपका dependency कहाँ है? वो depend, that is more important. Let the doctor do his best. What you have to do? You have to pray to Krishna. That is what we see now in all the cases of Pandavas and all. They were all the time, whenever they were going through all these calamities, they were doing what they had to do. It's not that Arjuna initially didn't want to fight the battle. That was the whole Bhagavad Gita setting, right? But then afterwards, he was just doing what he had to do. Dependency kahan tha? Shelter. We go to the doctor. If we become okay, we thank the doctor also. I'm not saying don't thank the doctor. But understanding kya hai? Krishna used this doctor to cure me. That is correct understanding. That is correct consciousness. So, this is what we have to prepare ourselves. Shelter. We have to take shelter. We are taking shelter. But our shelter is misdirected. That's where the problem is. Devtas, they tried everything, right? Before offering these prayers, that is what they are saying. We've lost out all our weapons. That means with their weapons, they tried killing the demon. They tried with fighting. They tried with their strength, with their influence, with everything they tried. Now, where they are, in what situation? In case of a devotee, what does he do? He doesn't wait to get into that situation. He gets into that situation. But before getting into the situation itself, what he does is what the Devtas are now doing. He doesn't wait. He knows, aane hi wala hai. Vipada, calamity, they will come. It's not that that's why you see in all the lives of somebody in the life of Prabhupada also. Prabhupada went through challenges, right? Of course, in their lives, it comes to glorify them. Krishna puts them into those situations, then only we see what the glories of that devotee. But on the material level, if you see, all, you have to go through it. Preparing ourselves, that is important. Taking shelter, the right shelter. So in yesterday, anybody remembers how did yesterday's class end? Prabhuji ended it very wonderfully. Anybody remembers? Yes. Take shelter of Krishna. How do you take shelter? Wonderful. Very nicely he ended it, and that triggered me what to how to take off from there only. I'm just following in where he left. I'll just continue from there. Taking shelter of Krishna, he gave some ways how you take shelter, right? Holy name. Holy name is not different from Krishna. Then he said for instructions. Yes, instructions in the form of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, devotees, acharyas. And then he said prayers, right? So that inspired me today to speak a bit on, since we are seeing here, how are the devotees, how are the devtas taking shelter of Krishna? Through prayers. So I thought, let's see, whatever I talk, I'm sure all of you all may have heard. But as I said, it's very important to keep hearing and reminding and refreshing ourselves. It's very important. Prayers. Vandanam. It's one of, and if you'll see the whole Bhagavatam, that's again the fiber of Bhagavatam, right? Prayer after prayer starts with Queen Kunti to Prahlad Maharaj to Dhruv Maharaj to, the list is, it's all about prayers, right? Devtas are praying, not pure devotees. Pure devotees are praying. All you can see, it's all prayers, prayers, prayers. It's an integral part, you can say, of the Bhagavatam. And it's one of the limbs of devotional service, right? Vandanam. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pad Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam. Offering prayers. Such a powerful way or mean of communication to connect with whom you are offering your prayers to. It could be, if you'll see, it's such a universal principle in any faith. If you see in Christianity, they have prayers, they offer prayers, right? Islam, Sikhism, any form you see, prayers is very foundational, you can say. It stands on that. Offering prayers. Because that's the form of, you can say, communication to connect with whom you're offering the prayers. It could be your guru. It could be a devta, right? Because a lot of, people pray to the devta. So offering prayers to the devtas, offering prayers to the Supreme Lord. Prayers is such a powerful tool for connecting. I'll start with sharing one story. Actually, it's not a story, it's a real life incident. But when you hear it, it sounds like a story. That's why I started off like a story. There was a doctor. This is a real life incident in South India, Chennai. Very famous and very powerful, very high profiled. So he used to be called to various places to come and give seminars, presentations. He would go to different places. So one day, this doctor was supposed to give a presentation in Delhi in the evening. So he caught a morning flight. Aram se, I'll reach there by lunchtime, evening I'll give my presentation. So what happened? The flight took off. After some time, an announcement was made. Sorry, there we have a snag, and we have to land immediately. So they landed somewhere halfway through, somewhere in Rajasthan, Ratlam or somewhere. They just landed. So when they landed, this doctor started thinking, अभी यहाँ से दिल्ली कभी पहुँचेंगा, कैसे पहुँचूंगा? I have to be there in time for the presentation. So now all the authorities also knew him because he was a big shot, So they made arrangements. We have to make sure he's a VIP, he has to be there in time. So what they did? They arranged for a car. That, sir, this car, in 4 hours, you will be there in time for your presentation. Fine. So he got into the car started, 4 hours journey. What happened? 1.5 hour, 2 hours later, while they were driving, Jabardast barish, cyclone, thunderstorm. And, the roads were also very narrow. It wasn't a main road or something. And we are talking about 40, 50 years back, no GPS and all that. So this driver is not being able to see, and he's just, he has no clue what to do. So this doctor, he sees that they are, somewhere in it looks like a small town or a village. So he tells the driver, pull up the car. Let's get off the road. And he pulls up the car in front of somebody's house. And he goes in. So they were nice people. When you go to these smaller villages and towns, they are very loving and they have a lot of culture. So they invited him. They made him sit down. He had nice prasadam, lunch. After some time, while he was honoring prasadam or lunch, whatever you call it, he saw something. It was a small house. So he saw in a corner, one lady was sitting there. And all through, from the time he came till now, he saw that lady was sitting there and crying very frantically. So he was wondering, what's wrong with that lady? So he asked the other person, what's the problem with that lady? So that person called that lady only. And she told this doctor, just 1 year back, 12, 13, 14 months back, I got a son. This is a real story. It's a real incident, not a story. I got a son. He's about 13, 14 months now. And this son, since birth only, he has been diagnosed with terminal cancer. And they've told, koi hope nahi hai. Only one hope is there. That there is one doctor in South India. He is a cancer specialist. If you all can get to him, that's the only hope. Otherwise, and they were poor people. She said, I don't even know who this doctor is. Khali naam malum hai. Chennai, I can't afford to go. And even if I go, I can't afford it. So he said, what are you doing? She said, I am praying. So the doctor asked her, what is the name of that doctor? So she took the name, whatever the name was, ABC. The doctor was shocked. Where is this doctor? Chennai. This doctor smiled and he told this lady, he asked the lady, do you know what is my name? She said, how will I know? He said, my name is ABC. This lady was shocked. And he said, that cancer specialist whom you are talking about, it's me. Now I'm going to put a question to all of you all. How many of you all think that this is coincidence? Coincidentally, this doctor reached that house. Please raise your hands. ये संगा में नहीं जाएगा हाथ ऊपर मालूम है. In one place I gave this same talk incident and one hand actually went up. A coincidence, Prabhuji. Truthfully, from my dictionary, I have deleted the word coincidence. Coincidence बोल के कुछ नहीं होता. What we cannot understand, what is beyond our intellect, we term it as coincidence. Everything is arrangement. Either it's Mahamaya, Yogamaya, material energy, spiritual energy, it's an arrangement. Because you cannot understand it, what do you use? What do you say? Ittafaq. ये तो coincidence से हो गया. Right? Is this coincidence? He could have gone to any other house, right? Why would that flight on that day only get a snag when he's on the flight? Why would that car while passing, usi time barish hua, why would that car have to go to that house only? And then that doctor, he just forgot all his presentation and all. He said, I take charge of this child. And it's a real, he took the child to his hospital, wherever it is, and he took care and the child got cured. This is the power of prayers. Prayerful prayer. You know, when I was going this time to US, I was really thinking of what theme to take with me. You know, you have to take something. So this was my theme. Prayerful prayers. Over here, I was thinking of mentioning it as tearful prayers because, you know, Devtas are crying. But over there, I didn't use the word tearful, you know, because people will think, Hare, I'm already crying now. In prayer also, you're making me cry. So I made it prayerful prayers. So this is how powerful prayers are. But when are these powers, when are these prayers potent or powerful? When does the reciprocation happen? See, it is explained as long as the prayers are from the lips. Where does it reach? It only reaches the ears of Krishna or the ears of whomever you are approaching, Devta, Guru, whoever it is. And there's a whole hierarchy. Only if the prayers are from the heart. Then where do they go? Straight to the heart of the Lord. If it's from the tongue, then it's a ritual. करना है, मम्मी ने बोला, रोज सवेरे कर ले. ठीक है, it's good, but that's not best. That is a ritual. But when it's from the heart, then it is spiritual. Then that same ritual becomes spiritual. Because now, see, how did this whole, if you see this whole incident, how did it happen? The Lord is there within our hearts. No? Again, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Sarvasya chaham riddhi sannivishto. Matta simriti jnanam apohanam cha. I give the intelligence, remembrance, forgetfulness. So He is guiding. He orchestrates everything. And see, you can fool everybody. There is only one person whom you cannot fool. Who? Krishna. Why? Because He's taken such a strategic position in our lives. Heart. You know? You see, in our houses also, where do we fix the cameras? We don't fix it anywhere. We fix it at very strategic points. Jahan se chor aayega, to you can see the chor coming. You don't put it outside the toilet or anything, right? So when Krishna says everything comes from me, this intelligence also comes from Him. Because He's taken such a strategic position in our lives, in our heart. You can fool some people sometime, you can fool some people all the time, but you can't fool Krishna even one time. Isko dhyan se rakh do. You can fool everybody. You know, we have 3 levels of existence. I don't know how I'm going to cover up what I'm covering. We have 3 levels of existence. What are the 3 levels? 1, public. What is public? You know, when we are with people, when we are with devotees, we are at our best. Kya Prabhu, kitne humble. Who is so humble, and you know, He's so sweet, He's so loving and all. When in public, right? What is the second level of existence? Private. What is private? When you are at home, then some colors start coming out. With your wife, with your children. See, everybody analyze for yourself. Are you what you are in private versus what you are in public? Change ho jata hai. What is the third level of existence? Personal. When you are so-called alone. हमको लगता है ना, कोई नहीं है. Now, you are never alone. That's the good news or the bad news, however you want to take it. He's always there. So personal level, maybe He's seeing, what is this person thinking? What is this person doing? What is this, right? So at any level, He's always there to guide us, to give us instruction. Matta simriti jnanam apohanam cha. Can you imagine what type of dependency we have? We are just like puppets, actually. We don't understand. Even materially, whatever we are achieving, what's up? At the end of the day, He's the guide. So now coming back to prayers. I will very quickly, I don't have the time. There are 4 elements of prayers which, if they are embedded in our prayers, prayerful, what should it be full of? These 4 elements. And I'm going to go through them really fast because we don't have time. I'm sorry. So, these 4 elements should be there in prayers. Whenever we offer prayers, be it to Guru, be it to Krishna, be it to a Devta, also to anybody. What is the first element? Glorification. Whomever you are offering the prayers to, be it to a Devta, be it to a Guru, be it to Krishna, be it to God Nitai, whoever. Either it should start with, or it should at least be integrated in the prayer somewhere. Glorification of the personality whom you are offering prayers to. Why? Why should we glorify the Lord or whomever we are glorifying? See, in our conditioned state, how much we like being glorified? है कि नहीं? Somebody just has to say, प्रभु आपने क्या क्लास दिया? प्रभु जी आप क्या कीर्तन करते हैं? Right? It's so pleasing to our ears, right or wrong? I don't know about you all, I'm talking at least for myself. Correct? So pleasing. कभी कभी तो हम बोलते हैं प्रभु जी सुनाई नहीं दिया, फिर से बोलें. Because it's so pleasing, right? But it is pleasing, but it is polluting. Because it's just puffing up your false ego and your pride. But when you are glorifying the Lord, you are glorifying Guru, what happens? Purification happens. When the Lord is pleased, the Guru is pleased, then cleansing hota hai. Oh, you are so great, and what am I? Just like, real world example. See, I am 5 feet tall, I am 6 feet tall, I am 7 feet tall. Humko kitna lagta na? I am 7 feet tall. Go and stand in front of a mountain which is 600, I don't know, some kilometers high. What do you feel? So small, so insignificant, right? That is so important. I'll give you a real life example again. I don't think I'll be able to complete it, but whatever is coming, I'm just speaking. I'll give you a real life example. You all know when Panch Tattva ka installation hua tha in Mayapur. I think it was 2005, 5 or 6, right? I'm forgetting the year. Sorry? 2004. So somehow, by some arrangement, by some kripa somewhere, I was there for the installation. I don't know how. Me and my wife both. And long story short, when the first time the curtain was going to open, this was the first ever darshan that anybody was going to get of Panch Tattva. And we had only heard, Prabhu ji, it is बहुत बड़े हैं. हमने सोचा बड़े माने. No. You know when the curtain opened, this is the first impression. And I looked around. Actually, everybody had tears. And I'm talking for myself. When I was actually feeling, my God, I'm so small. But problem kya hai? That is only the first time experience. Now when I go, मालूम है, curtain खुलेगा. So what we have to do? We have to keep repeating that in classes. We have to keep repeating whenever we get an opportunity, because we have to refresh, no? We have to remind ourselves of that experience. You know, awestruck when we saw, this is glorification. And I had thought I'll go through some prayers. I was once told by my senior, see, in Bhagavatam you have prayers. Kunti Devi, Prahlad Maharaj, Gajendra, all, you know, the list goes on. So what he was telling me, you know, what you should do is try to get one prayer with which you can relate very nicely. You know, which really makes, you know, you can really integrate to it. And then keep, you know, either reading it, deep diving into those prayers. And then you have devotees who love Prahlad Maharaj's prayers. Some like Gajendra's prayers. Wonderful. So somehow I got inspired by Queen Kunti Devi's prayers, which a lot of you all know. They're very powerful prayers and which have all these elements that we are going to talk about. How does Kunti Devi's prayer start? Same. Namasye Purusham Tvadyam. That whole verse is what? Who you are, how great you are. Now imagine, Kunti Devi ke liye Krishna is just like her child, right? Like her son only. For a mother to glorify the child in this way. But now she's come to that platform. She has that understanding. Ye Purusham Tvadyam hai. So wonderful. She starts the prayers with glorification. Namasya Purusham Tvadyam. And do you know what is the last line of her prayers? Yogeshwara Akhila Guru Namaste. This is the last lines of those prayers. Yeah, Yogeshwara Akhila Guru Bhagwan Namaste. This is the last line. Can you imagine? She starts with glorification, ends with glorification. So wonderful. And we see the same, all these elements you will see in all the prayers. I had actually taken out Srila Prabhupada's prayers also, Baro Kirpa Koilo Krishna. How we see these same elements in his prayers also. He says, Akhila Jagat Guru. Who are you? You are Akhila Jagat Guru. So glorification, again, it's very long, there's so much we can discuss. Glorification is one of the most important elements in our prayers. And it can be very simple, na? I will end with giving you all the, you know, simplest solution to all these elements. But, you know, if you're standing in front of Gaur Nitai, how difficult it is to say, Param Karuna Bahudvijan Nitai Gaur Chandra. Right? Isn't this glorification? Oh, Mahaprabhu, oh, Nityananda, you are Param Karuna. Difficult again. You're standing in front of Radha Vrindavan Chandra. How does Brahmaji's Brahma Samhita start? Ishvara Parama Krishna. Everybody knows. When we chant these prayers, we don't understand how much it's pleasing to the Lord. And it is this, when the Lord is pleased, that we are purified. In His pleasure, Samsiddhim Hari Toshanam ka matlab ye hai, when every thought, word, action of ours is for the pleasure of the Lord, what happens? Purification hota hai. So we can talk so much about it. So first is glorification of the Lord. First means it should be integrated. In some prayers you will see it coming later on, second element coming forth. But it's an important element of prayers, glorification. What is next? Second, once you've glorified the Lord or the Guru or whoever you are offering prayers to, what is the second? You establish your position in relation to that personality. Right? Humility, you can say. See, I'll give you an example, very nice example. I may have shared it before also, I'll share it again. There is a devotee of Ganpati. What does he sing? Deva ho deva, Ganpati deva, tumse badkar kaun. Isn't this wonderful? He's glorifying Ganpati, right? Because for him, his devta is Ganpati. What's wrong in that? Where is the problem? Uska next line kya hai? और ही इज रिमाइंडिंग गणपति, हाँ यू आर ग्रेट, ओके, और तुम्हारे भक्त जनों में हम भी कम नहीं है. मेकिंग सेंस? बट व्हाट इज द वैष्णव प्रे? हाउ डज द वैष्णव प्रे? पतित पावन हेतु तव अवतार. योर अवतार इज टू डिलीवर ऑल द पतितस. एंड व्हाट इज द नेक्स्ट लाइन? ही डजंट से कि ने मोशम पतित प्रभु न पाई बेहार. Making sense? This is the mood with which when you approach and when you pray to the Lord, how pleased is the Lord? Because this is the, you can say, the constitutional position of our Krishna Nitya Das ka matlab ye hai na, to come to this platform of humility, that I am so. See, again coming to Kunti Devi's prayers. Kunti Devi has just established you are Purusham Tvadyam, and we see in the last line also she is establishing you are Yogeshwara, you are Akhila Guru Bhagavan and all, right? Yet, this same Kunti Devi in the later prayers, what does she say? She says, but how can we women understand you? That's her humility. Who's understood Krishna better than her? She's not saying, she's saying, we women, how can we approach you? How can we understand you? Right? One more point. How does Kunti Devi's prayer start? Again, very interesting. Namasye Purusham Tvadyam. What is the meaning of Namasye? Namaste, Namaha. Na, ma, mera koi hasti nahi hai. The prayers end also with that. Namaste ka matlab wo hai, see, when we are paying obeisances to Prabhupada, that should be our consciousness, our mood. Mera koi hasti nahi hai. So she starts with Namaste and she ends with Namaha. Showing her humility. To whom? To someone who is like her son. She is establishing her position. And the same thing we see in Prabhupada. Prabhupada, what is he saying? What is he telling Krishna? Bhakti nahi, Veda nahi, name khub boro. He is telling Krishna, I have no bhakti. Who's saying this? That person who in 12 years built 108 temples is saying, mere ko bhakti hai nahi. Is it possible without having any love, devotion for the Lord, you can do what he achieved? He's saying, but I have no love, devotion. Bhakti nahi, Veda nahi, I have no knowledge. He's translated Bhagavad Gita, commentaries, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, number of books. But what he's standing in front of Krishna and saying? Veda nahi. नाम है मेरा भक्ति वेदांत नाम, ये बे सार्थक करो. नाम मेरे को दे दिया भक्ति वेदांत. But you can only fulfill the purport of bhakti vedanta. Who's saying this? See, when we sing these bhajans, what is the meaning of deep diving? We have to understand what's the mood of that personality. And this he is writing not after, before he's achieved anything. He wrote it on the Jaladuta, these prayers, right? It's not that he's trying to show his humility. No. Before he's achieved anything, he's put it down. Bhakti nahi, Veda nahi, name khub boro. I have no bhakti, I have no knowledge. This is the mood. Personification, and next is what? Humility. Your position in relationship to the Lord. Third is what? Gratitude. Gratitude is so important. In English it is said, a grateful heart is a happy heart. In today's society, you see, nobody's, the more you have, the more you want, right? How many of us are, for what should, even if you leave out all this bhakti and all, every day in the morning, if a person gets up, first thing he should do is he should thank the Lord. Why? Wow, I can see today. I can hear. How long does it take to lose your hearing? Aise, Prabhuji is saying like this. How long does it take to lose your speech? How long does it take to lose your vision? A minute. Every day morning, first thing, even if you don't have all the gratitude. Gratitude is foundational, It's so important. And that is why we see in all the prayers also. Again, we see in Kunti Devi's prayers, she's expressing gratitude to Krishna. How you took care. She's going back in the past, about that poisonous cake and the fire, and you saved all the incidents. She's actually narrating to Krishna. Krishna knows everything. But she's expressing her heart. We are so thankful to you. All that we are seeing now in our kingdom, flourishing, everything. It's why? Because of your lotus feet being in that kingdom, that whatever is happening. Yeah, gratitude is very important. If gratitude is not there, then what? As long as we think as long as we are in that consciousness, then where's gratitude? There's no gratitude. Atheist look away hota na. Kya Bhagwan? Everything we are doing, where does this God factor come in? So gratitude is so important. Even in Prabhupada's prayers it comes. How does he start the prayer? Boro kirpa koile Krishna adhamera prati. He calls himself again Adhama. Krishna, what kripa you've done upon me. He starts his prayer with gratitude. So gratitude, I'm just going through fast because it's already 9:10. Gratitude, third element. And what is the fourth element? The element which when we, I'm talking for myself, not of you all. Before we go, the first thing we do, asking for a benediction. Asking. We go with a long list, na? Bhagwan, 97% chahiye. Bhagwan, I want a nice bride. Bhagwan, I want this project. Bhagwan, I want this job. First thing, rather, they forget everything. Bhagwan ke paas aake. Whereas if you see in so many cases, they don't even ask for a benediction. Somebody like Prahlad Maharaj is being forced to ask. Nahi chahiye main. Please, for my pleasure, ask. So, how to ask for a benediction? See, Prabhupada has given us actually everything. We don't need to look elsewhere. Recently, there was a class by Radheshyam Prabhu in our house. He was talking about how if devotees are at a shallow level of understanding of what Prabhupada has given us, then only they will get attraction to outside. But he said if you dive deep, see in an ocean, where is the real treasure? It's the deeper you dive, you get the treasure, right or wrong? At the shallow level, you will just get some fishes and some herbs and all that. That's it. He was explaining it's so important to deep dive into what Prabhupada has given us everything. How to ask? What did Prabhupada say? How should you ask the Lord? He said, whenever you want to ask something, add 4 words in front of that. What are the 4 words? If you so desire. It's wonderful. See, if I tell Krishna, if you so desire, I should get the job. Okay. Now, if I get the job, should I become proud? Because if this factor is not there, then what happens? I become proud. Dekha, mere ko job mil gaya. And if you don't get the job, what happens? You don't get dejected. You don't get depressed. Why? If you do so desire, bola tha na, means Krishna doesn't desire. There's something good in my not getting this job. Both ways, it's a win-win situation. And if that's not there, both ways, it's a lose-lose situation. Because if you don't get the job, people get into stress, depression, anxiety. Kya hoga ab ye mera? Aur mil jata hai, to you are proud. Prabhupada taught us how to ask. If you so desire, and then you ask whatever you want. And Krishna rather says, come to me. Akama, sarva kama, moksha kama, come to me. Don't go anywhere else. Because I know how to, even if Krishna gives us, he knows exactly how to give. You want a TV, a big, big TV. Krishna will fulfill your desire. He'll give you the TV. But what he will do? He will take away the taste for the TV. TV hoga. The TV is there on the wall. Not interested. Right? Dhruv Maharaj, na? Krishna is ready to give him. Oh, you want a kingdom? I'll give you. Now, Dhruv Maharaj, I don't want. This is the best part. If you ask, you have to know whom to ask. If you go to demigods and all, with due respect, they're bound. Right? If you do the yajna perfectly, whatever you do has to be done. If you do it, they are bound. They have to give you. Good, bad, ugly, they'll give it. So asking for a benediction. What is Kunti Devi asking for? 2 benedictions. One is Vipada Santo. Prabhupada said, you all don't have to ask for that. हम लोग का life में विपदा आएगा ही आएगा. And she gives a reason why she's asking. She said, let calamities come, because in calamities, bhavato darshanam yat syad. Apunar bhava darshanam. Then this material energy can't affect me, because I'm taking complete shelter of you. And what is the last verse of Kunti Devi's prayers? Tvai me ananya vishaya. That my Ananya, she compares, just like Ganges is flowing into the ocean without any obstacles and all. That's how I should get fixed, connected to you. What she's asking, huh? Amazing, no? She's teaching us. See, that is why we have to keep hearing. We have to keep going through these prayers. ठीक है, अच्छा है, once Bhagavatam we read the full thing, but deep dive का मतलब ये, we have to contemplate on what to ask also. Because apart from, see now, coming back to this verse, here also demigods are asking, right? In their prayers, if you all go through this whole prayers, this is the second last prayer. There's only one prayer after this. If you all go through all these prayers, you all will see all these 3 elements. They have glorified the Lord. They have established their position, how we are so foolish. They have expressed gratitude also, and now they are asking, please do something with this Trinavarth. With Vrittasur. They are asking for a benediction. Now I'm going to end with, see, a question should come to our mind. Ki Prabhu, aisa prayer, how to compile a prayer in which there will be glorification also, and my humble position and gratitude also, and asking for something also. Icing on the cake. Chaitanya Charitamrita. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna knew. See, Krishna is so merciful. He compressed the whole Bhagavatam into 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita. Mein, pura Vedas, Puranas ka sabka sar, he gave it to us in 700 verses. Okay. After some time he realized, hey, Kalyuga mein 700 verses is also too much. Right? So, Namo Mahavadanyaya ka matlab kya hai? How merciful is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? That he compressed 700 verses into 8 verses. Can you imagine? 8 verses mein he gave us the essence of all that we have discussed. Shikshashtakam kya hai kya? They are prayers. They are prayers. And they comprise of all these 4 elements that we just went through. First verse is what? Glorification of the Lord. See, you can glorify the Lord in many forms. In the form of His holy name, in the form of His deity, in the form of His leela, pastimes, qualities. In so many ways you can glorify. What is the first verse? From Cheto Darpana Marjanam all the way down to Param Vijayate. It's glorification of the Lord in the form of His holy name, right? What the Lord can, how the Lord in the form of His holy name, what all He does. Sarvatma Snapanam. We can have a whole class on that verse. Glorification, right? What is second verse? Nam Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrar Pita Niyamita Smarne Na Kalha Eta Drishi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi. Stop. This is gratitude. See why I'm sharing, because every day we read these prayers in the morning. But again, I'm not telling for you all, I'm telling for myself. Kya mood hai hum log ka? See, we can just chant these prayers because Prabhu ji every day morning karna hota hai, and we are looking at the clock, 5-10 ho gaya, fir mera round nahi complete hoga. If with that mood you will offer ritual. But if we have an understanding of what these prayers are, do you all know what is these 3 lines? It's telling the Lord how merciful you are. Eta drishi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi. What kripa you have done? That you have invested all your energies in your holy name. 1. And second, सिमरने के लिए no rules, no regulations. तत्रार पिता नियमता स्मरणे न कालहा. Actually, there are no rules, regulations for chanting Hare Krishna. There is no time also. You can chant in the night also. But please don't, if you all are chanting in the morning, continue chanting. But he is saying ki you are so merciful, my Lord, that you have invested all your energies in this, in your name, and on top of that, as if that is not enough, Simarne na kalaha, I can chant any time, no rules, regulations apply. Wow, this is gratitude. And what is the last line? Etadrishi tava kripa bhagwan mamapi durdevam idrisham iha janina anuragaha. I am so unfortunate, my Lord, I have no attachment for this holy name. This is the mood of the devotee who is crying. With this mood, we should chant our rounds. कोई भी एक वर्स को लेके अपना rounds chant करो. I am struggling, not that I am there yet, but I just take one verse. Durdevam idrisham. I am so crazy, I am so unfortunate, knowing also I am not. So glorification, my position, gratitude, and what is the fourth one? Asking for something. First he says, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam, va jagadisha kami. The whole list with which we go to the Lord, he said, I don't want. I don't want dhanam, janam, sundarim, all name, fame, सब मेरे को नहीं चाहिए. क्या चाहिए? Mama janmani janmanishwari. He is not asking for one lifetime also. Jackpot, long term मांग रहा है. मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवतात क्या भक्ति, कैसा भक्ति? अहेतुकी त्वयि. I just want this. I want your अहेतुकी भक्ति. ये मूड से हमको चैंट करना चाहिए. First 5 verses is for us. 6, 7, 8 is all bhava and all that. We don't have to go sub. That's the result of the first 5 verses. With this mood, we should chant, Ai Nand Tanuja Kinkaram. Again, he is condemning himself. Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Buddha. I've fallen into this material realm. Kripaya Tava Pad Pankaja Sthita Dhuli Sadrisham Vichintaya. This is the cry of the devotee. With this mood, when we chant, then what happens? Then the Lord will reciprocate. And the Lord reciprocates in many ways. See, our understanding when we Lord reciprocate means वो सामने आके खड़े हो जाएंगे. The Lord was standing in front of Duryodhana also, na, right? Could Duryodhana see him as the Lord? No. The Lord can reciprocate in many ways, in the form of Bhagavatam, in the form of holy name, in the form of the deity. Most easiest way he reciprocates is through prasadam, right? Then when the Lord sees that from the heart we are crying out, then he reciprocates. And that is, this was the mood of Srila Prabhupada. See, if you see this whole, what we discussed today, in one sense, Prabhupada also tried. You know, in India, we know he did so much, till it came to a point where he thought, ki, India mein nahi hona. It was totally like, you can say, Prabhupada, in this kind of helpless, and then he cried to Krishna. Nachao, nachao, nachao more, nachao shaimate. And then what happened? Krishna took charge of his life. Now, a lot of time we might think Krishna took charge of Prabhupada's life because he's a very special soul, he is Parshad. So, no. Prabhupada would also say, the same principle applies for all the devotees. Krishna doesn't say, this so-and-so devotee is dear to me. Krishna says, when he says, my devotee is more dear than anything, it's for every devotee, for everybody. ABC hai ki XYZ hai. To the degree we are crying with these feelings to Prabhupada, to Gaur Nitai, to Radha Vrindavan Chandra, to Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Sudarshan, we will get the same mercy and the same compassion from the Lord. From Prabhu. It comes through Prabhupada, it comes through Guru, and it comes through all the Vaishnavas. So I'd like to end here. I'm so sorry again. Yugal Sham Prabhu is here. He's seeing the time and he's saying this Prabhu always goes over time. And yet he's very compassionate that he gives me an opportunity to speak. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. But I'm so sorry. It's already 9:20. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande. If anybody has any more than questions, comments, you know, because all of you all have very powerful experiences. I will be around for some time because I like speaking, but I like hearing also. Because whatever you all will share, then I will share it with others also. So please feel free to share any comments. If you all have any questions which you all feel I can address, I'll be around for some time because it's already late. We'll take it. Thank you very much.